Hi everyone, James here with Flax Studios to talk about the new Nikon D780 camera and some of my initial impressions after messing around with it for the last week or so, as well as comparing it to other cameras I own like Nikon's Z7, which I'm filming this with, the Nikon D750, and the Nikon D850. So one thing I think that's fair to note is what I use these kind of cameras for, which is primarily wedding photography and landscape photography. And I just wanted to share my thoughts and kind of compare the things I like and don't like about the D780 camera. One thing I would say is that it's probably the least excited I've ever been to order a new camera, but needed it as an extra backup camera as well as a camera for my second shooter, and I decided to go for it. Now, in the past, my primary camera has been the D850 and also the Z7, which I enjoy using a lot now, but as many of you complain about the fact that it doesn't have dual card slots, which isn't a huge deal for me. I still use it at weddings, but I don't rely on it as my primary camera, and that's one of the reasons. So let's talk about the new D780 and how it compares to some of those, as well as the things I like and don't like about the camera. I can tell you right off the bat that I actually really love this camera so far, and it's a lot better than I was expecting. So let's share some of the pros. Why did I buy this camera as opposed to another Z series or another D850 or something like a D5, D6? So what I like about it is the dual card slots and that it's two SD cards. So they've upgraded the UHS 2 cards, but I've used the UHS 1 cards and had no problem recording 4K video or it keeping up with the buffer, which is really great. So I like the fact that I can buy cheap cards. SD cards don't cost a lot compared to the XQD cards, which cost a lot. So another thing I really like about this camera is the long battery life. I think it's rated for 2,200 shots or so, which is a great improvement over the D750. The low light capability is really impressive with this camera. One thing I loved about the D850 when I first tried it out in the dark is the fact that it could find things in the dark way better than any camera that I had owned. The the D780 definitely matches up with that, and it is a great improvement over the D750. And one thing that I don't like about the Z series cameras is their ability to focus in the dark quite as well. That's just my personal opinion on it. Compared to the D750, if you come from that, is it worth spending all the money for the new one? I would generally say no, unless you're making money with the camera and you want to upgrade. What I really like about it in comparison is it's very fast, it's quiet, and it's noticeably fast in the D750 in both autofocus and the buffer. I really just have no complaints. It works very smoothly. It's very comfortable to hold, more so than the D850. The design is really great. The layout, everything makes sense. It's very easy to find. I don't find myself fumbling like you have muscle memory used to pressing certain buttons. Didn't have a lot of difficulty with that. And the video, the great part about this is if you are kind of making your entrance into like the mirrorless market, but you haven't fully committed, this is a great intro. And I think that's kind of why they designed it. The thing I love about my Z7 is being able to switch from the viewfinder to the live view, which unfortunately this camera doesn't have that auto, but when you switch it to live view, it's like looking at the back of the Z6 or Z7 camera, which is really great. So you look through the viewfinder, you've got the optical viewfinder with the normal autofocus system that's been improved from the old camera. But if you switch it to live view, you've got the whole frame to use for both video and photos that is great compared to any other live view DSLR currently available. The other thing is that the video, it's going to match the video of the Z6 and Z7 cameras. Very easy to operate. It's got the AFF mode that slowly changes the focus, and you can set the focus speed, which is a huge step above past DSLRs in the Nikon range. Also, the Wi-Fi, charging via the cable, great little options that are just handy to have on the fly if you forget your charger, use your phone charger, or the Wi-Fi works really well with SnapBridge, which older cameras hasn't worked that well. But finally, they've improved on that a lot. Some of the cons, the price. It's a little pricey at $2,200, $2,300, which I was reluctant to pay. But that being said, I expect to have this camera for a long time and it seems to hold up well. So if you have a D750, which you can pick up used for 800,000 bucks, and it's a backup camera or you don't make money with it, I would say go that route just to save some money. But otherwise, so far, really happy with the D780. It does have less megapixels than, say, the D850 or Z7. Not a big deal. I think it's 24, plenty for most things. And the only thing that I'm missing with this compared to, say, my Z7 is I love the sensor stabilization in the Z7, which that unfortunately you don't get with this camera, and it feels like it's missing when you're looking through the live view, expecting that Z7 sort of VR that's built into the sensor. You don't have that here. Another big complaint that people have is the fact you can't do a grip. I don't know about anyone else, but I haven't used grips in years. Don't find them that useful. You just turn the camera sideways. You don't need the grip. Pop a new battery in. The loss of not being able to use, a $300 grip isn't a big deal to me. The other thing is there's no pop-up flash, which I haven't used in years, and even found that annoying on cameras like my D810 where I'd accidentally hit the button as it's on my side and then it pops up on you, and I just found that obnoxious and usually would end up breaking them. So I'm glad it's gone for one. And the only thing I think missing from this that I would have loved to see, like I have in my D850, is the backside illuminated buttons. That would have been really great to have. I like to shoot astrophotography. Having that is a great thing when you're out in the dark without having to turn on a headlamp or something like that. So, is this camera for you? I would say if you're looking to step between the mirrorless and DSLR market, this is a great way to do that if you already own f-mount lenses. I have really enjoyed playing with it the few days that I have. I found it to be very reliable and would have no trouble picking this up and having it either as my primary wedding camera or back up to my D850. Versus the D850, slightly smaller size, but it's just about as good in low light, and the cards are much cheaper. So as an everyday shooter, great camera. Versus the Z6 and Z7, obviously you have no ability to use those new Z-mount lenses in the future, which are excellent. And I would say that if you're a video shooter, the big benefit of the new Nikon Z series lenses is the fact that the motor is quiet. So when you're doing video with this, while it looks like you're using, saying the Z6 or the Z7, you do have that kind of clicking that happens with the AFS lenses. So that's probably the only thing that is a little bit of a bummer. But other than that, if you're choosing between, say, the Z6, Z7, and 780, it's hard to say. It's up to you. I say that in general, I still like having the optical viewfinder. And in situations where I'm using it professionally, that's where I prefer it. In places, say if you're a sole video shooter, or like I'm going on vacation tomorrow when I travel, I'm gonna have my Z7. It's way more compact. I trust it for most things. But in high speed shooting, sports, or something like that, I just don't quite trust the new Z series cameras like I do my DSLR. So anyway, hope this has been helpful. Give you a brief intro to the camera and my general feel for it. I give it 2 thumbs up. I'm expecting to really enjoy using it. And if I have an affiliate link below and you purchase via that, awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it. Hope you've enjoyed this video, and leave any questions or comments below, and I'll do my best to reply to those if there's anything I've forgotten to touch base on in this video. So thanks for watching. Have a great day.